Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today. As usual, man, you guys know on this channel. So about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, betting reality, guys. And in this video, man, we're going to talk about something that was sent to me. Shout out to BTG the Don. I hope I'm saying that right. He sent me this clip on Instagram, and I saw it this morning, and I had to do a video on it because I don't understand. And it's Derrick Rose. And listen, I got a lot of love and respect for Derrick Rose, man. This is not a tear down Derrick Rose video, but we have to set the record straight on what Derrick Rose said about Michael Jordan in relation to Michael Jordan playing in the city of Chicago. And Derrick Rose essentially saying that Michael Jordan would not be himself. He would not be Michael Jordan if he did not play in Chicago. And I listened to some of the things that he said, and he was talking about the city of Chicago and, how they're a great sports city, and, how they put pressure on players, and, it was Michael Jordan wouldn't have been himself if he played for any other place but Chicago. And I don't understand what he's saying because it didn't make any sense to me. And we're going to talk about in this video real quickly, guys, because once again, I don't know what the agenda is here with some of these guys when they speak, once again, about Michael Jordan. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man, that's been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled, man. I want to send a special thanks out to my man CP. Came through with a super thanks the other day. Shout out to CP. Thank you very much. Continue support, man. It means a lot. Thank you for everything, man. I want to send a special thanks out to Vernon Lee Warren, once again coming through with another super thanks. You guys truly humble me, man. CP, Vernon Lee Warren, you guys are true supporters of my channel. Like I said, you guys have donated to my channel numerous times, multiple times, several times. So thank you very much. Like I said, guys, I know money's hard to come by for a lot of people out there, man. So like I said, that's why it humbles me, guys. It really does. So thank you very much to all you guys, man. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So yes, guys, like I said, man, I wanted to shout out to a BTG the Don. I believe that was the name. Send me this clip on Instagram, and I saw it this morning, and it's a Derrick Rose. Once again, I don't know if he's on a podcast or, some show somewhere being interviewed, man. And I tell you right now, man, these ex-NBA players, they're really making their rounds. Everyone has a podcast now. Everyone has a show. These goofs out here, man. Everyone's got a show, and everyone's always talking about Michael Jordan. That's why I laugh when these weird LeBron James fans try to make it seem as if LeBron James is more relevant than Michael Jordan, or when we hear Gilbert Arenas say that Michael Jordan is only relevant now because of LeBron James. It's an absolute joke, man. Every time I get sent a clip, or every time you see someone's podcast, or someone's being interviewed, they always talk about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is going to come up at some point in time in this conversation, man. Michael Jordan's going to come up. It has to happen. So, once again, this is another instance of Michael Jordan being talked about by an ex-NBA player. And like I said, guys, I respect Derrick Rose. This is not a tear down of Derrick Rose. But once again, I don't agree with Derrick Rose is saying here. And I don't even understand what he's trying to say. I don't understand these angles that I tell you, boy, these guys come with these new angles. Every chance that they get, they try to come at a new angle. Like when Rasheed Wallace said that Michael Jordan wasn't that great of a defensive player. Like, what weird angles are we coming up with here? And then he tries to justify by saying that he saw Michael Jordan get scored on. Like, that's your justification for Michael Jordan not being a great defensive player. It don't add up, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, these fools, they just say things. Like, these weird angles. That's not an angle. Michael Jordan is obviously a great defensive player. If you don't think he's the greatest defensive player of all time, that's great. No one said he was. But to try to take away from the man by saying that he's not that great of a defender, like, once again, man, what are we doing here? And Derrick Rose, I'm listening to him speaking this clip, and like I say, he's being interviewed or whatever, and he's speaking, he's wearing a Chicago Bears jersey, and he's talking, and I get it, he's from Chicago, he's trying to give his hometown some love. But once again, he starts talking about Michael Jordan would not have been Michael Jordan if he didn't play for the Chicago Bulls. And he made it as if the Chicago Bulls fans, the people there, they were putting the pressure on Michael Jordan. They were going to be holding Michael Jordan to a standard. They were going to be like, oh, so you won 3 in a row. So what's that mean? Where's number 4? You're going to get another one? Like, that's one of the things he was saying. And I'm like, who the hell was saying that? The dude won 3 in a row. 3 championships in a row. Larry Bird Celtics never did that. Magic Johnson's Lakers never did that. Isaiah Thomas Pistons never did that. What the hell are we talking about here? Will Chamberlain and Jerry West never did that. The New York Knicks of the early 70s with Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, Dave DeBusschere, Bill Bradley, they never did that. They didn't win 3 in a row. So really, what are we saying here? We're trying to make it seem as if Derrick Rose was saying that, oh, after they won that first three-peat, because I know there were people in Chicago so saying, so when are you going to win a 4th? So what does that mean? Like, are you kidding me right now, Derrick Rose? This is what we're doing now? We're trying to take away from Michael Jordan. He's not giving props to the city of Chicago. Is that what he thinks he's doing? Giving props to the city of Chicago for putting pressure on Michael Jordan? Like, no other city would have done that. No other city would have been rooting for Michael Jordan or wanting Michael Jordan to win. He makes it seem as if the city of Chicago wasn't impressed with Michael Jordan winning 3 in a row. So what? When are you going to win the 4th one? Or what about another one? Derrick Rose, man. Dude, what the hell are you talking about, man? What are you talking about? You want to talk about the city of Chicago and how they're a sports city and all this stuff and how they really get behind their teams? Okay. And there are many other cities like that. You're sitting there trying to tell me that Boston is not a sports town? Their nickname is Title Town. Like, what are we saying here? You're telling me that if Michael Jordan played for the New York Knicks in the 90s, the New York Knicks fans, they would not have been behind Michael Jordan, putting the pressure on Michael Jordan? They wouldn't have expected greatness from Michael Jordan? What are you talking about here, man? I could make an argument that Michael Jordan would have been even greater if he played for the Knicks and had the Knicks winning in the 90s, not the Bulls. I could easily make an argument that playing in Madison Square Garden, a legendary arena, to the Chicago Bulls, the Chicago Stadium, was that a legendary place? Madison Square Garden is legendary. Michael Jordan could have been the man in New York, Madison Square Garden. You're telling me that wouldn't have helped him even more? Marketing-wise, New York City's the biggest market. What are we saying here? You're telling me if Michael Jordan played for the Lakers in the 90s, if he played for the Lakers in the 90s, in the historic franchise that was the Lakers, and he was in there winning 3-peats in the 90s on the Lakers, you're telling me that would not have been great? He would not be Michael Jordan on the Lakers? He wouldn't have been Michael Jordan on the Knicks? Or if he played for the legendary Boston Celtics franchise, a proud organization like the Celtics, you're telling me the Boston Celtics fans would not put pressure on Michael Jordan to win? The bottom line here, I believe that Derrick Rose is missing, and that really bothered me when he was saying this stuff, is that once again, he's missing the boat on Michael Jordan, man. He's shortchanging Michael Jordan, and he's missing the point. No one put more pressure on Michael Jordan than himself. The all-time great legends, they didn't feel the pressure from the fans or from the organizations because they put the pressure on themselves. You're telling me Larry Bird didn't have pressure on himself, that he put there on himself to win, to be great? He wasn't necessarily worried about the Boston fans' pressure. The pressure was on himself. He put that there. You're telling me that Bill Russell didn't put pressure on himself? Or Kobe Bryant didn't put pressure on himself to be great? The guy was trying to be like Michael Jordan. You're telling me that's not putting pressure on yourself? He was chasing Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was chasing the greatness of Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. He was chasing the winning. The pressure of the Chicago fans was irrelevant to the pressure that Michael Jordan put on himself. He didn't feel pressure. He didn't feel that fear or feel the pressure from us. The pressure came from himself for wanting to be great. That's where the pressure came from. When Michael Jordan raised up for a jump shot at the end of a game, the pressure that he felt, it wasn't from the fans. It's from himself. The pressure he put on himself to be great, to make that shot in those pressure situations. He wasn't worried about missing it because of the fans. Oh, they're going to boo me if I miss this shot. The pressure was there on himself to be great. Damn, if I miss this shot, then I may not be great. Maybe I'm not as great as I think I am. So I don't know what Derrick Rose is talking about, saying that Michael Jordan would not have been himself if he did not play for Chicago. That's insane to me. Once again, they're trying to take away from Michael Jordan. He's not giving props to the city of Chicago. That's not what I hear when I hear him say this. I don't look at it that way. It's him giving, oh yeah, the city of Chicago, they're just so much greater of a fan base than any other organization, in any other city. Where was the Chicago Bulls before Michael Jordan got there? They were irrelevant. That's what made what Michael Jordan did so great. He literally started from the bottom and built the Chicago Bulls up. He did that by pushing his teammates in practice, by being coachable, by going out there and giving the effort for the people of Chicago, the city of Chicago. Michael Jordan mentioned the city of Chicago. I don't know how many times I heard Michael Jordan say, yeah, for the city of Chicago. He was aware of what was going on around him. He understood that, but you're telling me if he played in New York, he wouldn't have felt that same pressure? You're telling me if he played in L.A., he wouldn't have felt pressure? Or if he played in Boston, he wouldn't have felt pressure? And in fact, he would have felt more pressure in those cities because once again, the prestige of those organizations, the legacy of the Celtics would have put more pressure on Michael Jordan to live up to Bill Russell, to live up to Larry Bird and John Havlicek, Bob Cousy, right? The greats that played for that organization. That's more pressure to add it on. The Los Angeles Lakers, that would have been more pressure to live up to a Magic Johnson, a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? A Jerry West, right? A George Mikan, an Elgin Baylor. These great legends. It would have been more pressure on him. All those banners hanging up. There were no banners in Chicago when he got there. That city that Derrick Rose is talking about, there were no banners up there. Not a single one. But he's trying to sit there and say, with a straight face, that the people in Chicago were still talking down on Michael Jordan, still acting like the three-peat wasn't impressive, still talking about what you gonna do next. This is what he was saying. Oh, what you gonna do next? What you gonna do next? What? I highly doubt that the people in Chicago, after the first three-peat, were like, what you gonna do next? That's insane for him to say that. It's like with a straight face. Insane. Michael Jordan went out there and gave it his all for those people of Chicago, for the city of Chicago, for the organization that turned their backs on them. He went out there and bust his butt for those people, for that organization, to be a winner, to be great. And the greatness that Michael Jordan showed in his career, the level that he reached, it had nothing to do with him playing in Chicago. He put the pressure on himself. He was great in North Carolina. So much so that Bobby Knight says the greatest basketball player I've ever seen in my life. Before he even came to Chicago, he was Michael Jordan, Derrick Rose. He was always going to be Michael Jordan, Derrick Rose. And that's what you're missing here. And I don't understand how you can miss this. Yeah, Chicago might be a great city. They might love basketball and love football. They love their sports and they get behind their teams. But so do many other cities, man. And once again, for him to try to make it seem like Michael Jordan would not have been Michael Jordan and if he wasn't in Chicago, it's insane. This is what we marvel about with Michael Jordan, his competitive fire, right? That burns deep inside of him to be the best, to continue to push himself. That's what made him who he was. But Derrick Rose wants you to believe that it was partly due to him playing in Chicago? Would Michael Jordan been able to get more commercials and made more money if he played in New York, in that market, or in LA, or in a Boston? We think about the Detroit Pistons, right? That's not that far from Chicago. The Detroit Pistons. Once again, are we saying if Michael Jordan would have went to Detroit, let's say they didn't have the history that they had, and Michael Jordan went to Detroit, was drafted in Detroit, and all of a sudden the Detroit Pistons won 6 championships in the 90s? Are we ready to believe that the Detroit Pistons fans would not have been putting pressure on Michael Jordan before they won those championships? Or are we going to sit here and believe and act like the Detroit Pistons fans wouldn't have been ecstatic that their team won 6 championships in the 90s? The Bulls had won nothing. They were irrelevant. The only thing going on in Chicago when Michael Jordan got there, maybe Derrick Rose doesn't understand this, was the Blackhawks and the Chicago Bears. The Cubs were irrelevant. The Cubs are irrelevant. The Cubs, they hadn't won a World Series in like 100 years. That was the Chicago Cubs. The White Sox, how often have the White Sox won championships? When was their last World Series win? In the mid-2000s or something like that? How many chances the White Sox have won? How many Super Bowls have Chicago Bears won? The Chicago Bears haven't won a Super Bowl since 85? So all this talk about the city of Chicago and how they're a great city and they love sports and all this stuff, okay, I get all of that. But the organizations, by and large, have not been successful. The Chicago Bears are irrelevant. Irrelevant. They've been irrelevant since the 80s. And the Chicago Bulls have been irrelevant since Michael Jordan left. And before he got there, they were nothing. No one knew about the Bulls. No one cared about the Bulls. There was no one watching those games. So all this, city of Chicago, Michael Jordan wouldn't have been the same. There was no one watching those games, Derrick Rose. No one coming to those games in Chicago when Michael Jordan got there. They weren't supporting the Chicago Bulls. This guy's talking as if the city of Chicago was all over the Chicago Bulls. Every game was packed before Michael Jordan got there in support of their team. No, there was no one there. They had like 7,000 people in the stands in an arena that held like 15,000. So you had half capacity before Michael Jordan got there. That's how irrelevant the team was. They weren't making any money. And that's why guys like Jerry Reinsdorf is a straight clown. Piece of garbage, man. Only cares about money. What Michael Jordan did for the organization, the Chicago Bulls organization, as far as how much money they were making now, is insane. What Michael Jordan did for the value of that franchise, for them to not give these guys the money, or once again, like I said, not keep these guys together after that 1998 championship. Insane, guys, what Michael Jordan did for that organization. And in turn, what he did for the city of Chicago. Are we to believe that Michael Jordan in the 90s, the Chicago Bulls in the 90s, they didn't add revenue to the city of Chicago? That Michael Jordan didn't add to the quality of life, to the economy in Chicago? I mean, obviously in the entire country, but just in the focus in the city of Chicago. Michael Jordan opened a restaurant there. Like I said, the merchandise that they're selling, the money, the revenue he's bringing in. People going to Chicago. Michael Jordan put Chicago on the map. Now, when you think of Chicago, you think Michael Jordan. Derrick Rose talking about. Once again, man, you guys are trying to take away from Michael Jordan's greatness. Michael Jordan was going to be Michael Jordan, whether he played for Chicago Bulls, whether he played for the New York Knicks, the LA Lakers, the Boston Celtics, the Detroit Pistons. He was going to be Michael Jordan. All the other things surrounding that, yeah, things could change. But he was going to always be Michael Jordan. He was going to always be that competitor. He was always going to give that effort, push his teammates, and focus on winning, on the winning. If your focus is winning, it doesn't matter where you are. Your focus is singular. You're just trying to win by all means, by any means. It didn't matter what city he was in. Now, would Michael Jordan look different or weird, I guess, in a New York Knicks jersey or a Los Angeles Lakers jersey or a Boston Celtics jersey or a Detroit Pistons? Yeah, he would look weird in those colors now because that's all we know is Michael Jordan in the Chicago Bulls black and red. If Derrick Rose wants to talk about the Chicago Bulls colors and how, it was like he was meant to be a Chicago Bull, because Michael Jordan looks great in that red and black, guys. That red and black, that's Michael Jordan. That's what you think. You know what I'm saying? After all these years being with Chicago Bulls. But once again, if he was drafted to another team, he would be Michael Jordan. He would be Michael Jordan, guys. Because Michael Jordan, everything that made him came from within. Came from within, guys. You guys know that. The heart, the grit, the toughness, the competitive fire of Michael Jordan, man. It came from within. But Michael Jordan was great in North Carolina. But the problem was, in North Carolina, he had to play in an actual system, right? He was coachable. It wasn't about the individual at North Carolina. So Michael Jordan was able to fit in the system, play a team game, and win a championship at North Carolina. And then he goes to the Olympics and does the same thing and leads a team of players, of young players, to a gold medal. Michael Jordan was going to be great regardless. Derrick Rose is kind of off on this one. And like I said, it's not a tear down or a knock on Derrick Rose, but these guys speak and they say things that it doesn't add up when you listen to it. You're like, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, if I was there interviewing Derrick Rose, I would have given media pushback on this. And I would have been like, oh, come on, Derrick, really, man? He wouldn't have been Michael Jordan if he didn't go to Chicago. Once again, he's trying to give credit to City of Chicago by taking away from Michael Jordan, though. Really? It's the City of Chicago that was putting pressure on him. And the thing is, at least he said, oh, what you going to do next? What you going to do next? Oh, Michael Jordan won this many championships. All right, you going to win another one? Really? That's what they were saying in Chicago, Derrick Rose. They were really saying that? No, they weren't. No one was saying that. If he wants to say that they were putting pressure on Michael Jordan before he won, yeah, I can see that. Honestly, yeah, obviously they were. The entire league, everyone was putting pressure on Michael Jordan before he won a championship because he was doing all these crazy things, attaining all these accolades, right? Getting all these stats, getting all the hype, right? All the celebration, but he wasn't winning. So you have to win. That's the only thing that was missing from his resume. So yes, everyone's putting pressure on Michael Jordan to win. But for him to say the things that they, like, people were saying, oh, what you going to do next after they won a three-peat, after they won 4 championships, after they won, like, what are we saying here, man? Any fan base would have been ecstatic with a three-peat. Any fan base. I don't know what he's talking about, that Chicago, when, like I said, where are the Chicago fans at? Where were they at before Michael Jordan got there? They weren't going to the games. Michael Jordan brought them there. He brought them to the arena. They weren't there before he got there. It was Michael Jordan's game. He brought them there, Derrick Rose. They weren't there waiting around, showing up every night for a bad team. The product was bad. They weren't there. The Knicks have been bad for a long time. And yet and still, the New York Knicks organization, the franchise, is still worth billions. Yet and still, there are people packed in Madison Square Garden because it's New York City. Millions of people in the city. It's Madison Square Garden. Michael Jordan would have been fine in New York City, man. Once again, he had the demeanor, the personality, and the work ethic to be a New Yorker, to be in New York, to earn the respect, which he did as an opponent. They're a great fan base all around. Indiana has a great fan base. The Utah Jazz in the 90s, great fan base. They're rabid. They're crazy out there. Like I talked about the New York Knicks, the Boston Celtics. These people are intense. You're talking about Philadelphia. Michael Jordan wouldn't have been great if he played for the Philadelphia Sixers. The Philadelphia Sixers organization, they wouldn't have been behind them. The Philadelphia fans, they're crazy fan base, Philadelphia. They would have been behind Michael Jordan. They would have been putting pressure on Michael Jordan to win. But they also would have respected the championships and understood what a three-peat is. For Derrick Rose to say these things, what you going to do next? What you going to do next? Chicago is irrelevant. The Bears are irrelevant. The Bulls are irrelevant. The Cubs are irrelevant. The White Sox are irrelevant. The city of Chicago sports is irrelevant. But Derrick Rose out here talking about what city of Chicago did for Michael Jordan. And if they made him, he wouldn't have been Michael Jordan without the Bulls, without city of Chicago Bulls. Insane, man. Once again, they're always trying to rewrite the history, bend reality. It's always Michael Jordan, right? Would Magic Johnson have been Magic Johnson if he wasn't on the Lakers? Like, what are we saying? I never hear people say these things. Would Larry Bird have been Larry Bird if he didn't play for the Celtics? If Larry Bird played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, would he be Larry Bird? He would still be Larry Bird. Yes, their careers may play out differently as far as championships, as far as accolades, but they're still the same players. Michael Jordan will be Michael Jordan anywhere. It don't matter if he plays street ball. When Michael Jordan came back on the Wizards, that was Michael Jordan. He was out there giving the effort, doing what he does. Playing with the heart, the grit. It wasn't about the numbers for Michael Jordan. It never was. So Derrick Rose, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Michael Jordan would have been Michael Jordan regardless where he played. I get what he's saying a little bit. I understand what he's trying to say. But it's not coming out right, and it's not really true. It's not really truthful. When it comes to someone like Michael Jordan, like I said, Michael Jordan put more pressure on himself than any fan base could ever put on him. And that's the facts. Those are the facts, guys. He always put more pressure on himself. And that's why he was able to rise up more often than not. He prepared himself for these moments. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.